Welcome, it's Drew Blazik with Logos and Markets. In these videos, we're going to have 3 videos, and we're going to do an advanced mortgage calculations, and we're going to show the basic ones. We're going to go to the amortization and then sensitivity analysis based on different interest rates and different mortgage or maturities for that. So let's get started. So this video is going to be the basics. I believe we're just going to get to the payments, and we're going to do the beginning before we really get to the advanced part with the amortization. So we'll just get this started. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to plug in some values first. And I just want to kind of show you what we have. We're going to do the basics first, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go to what if we do an additional payment onto the house? Is that a good investment? If we put 20 bucks a month, or what if we put I should delete that there, but an extra payment just in a specific month? What if we say, or a quarter, depending on what it is, we'll say this is monthly payments. What if we do $10,000 in the third month? How much are we really making by the interest we save? And then what if we sell the house before maturity? How much interest do we really save? We're going to do all that in this example. So let's just do some basics right now. We're going to say this is a $400,000 house. And just for our example, we'll say we have a 0 down payment. And then we want to know, well, how much do we have to borrow? Well, that's going to be the home price minus the down payment. And just so you know, most of these variables that I actually renamed, as you can see, so you could type it up rather than selecting the cell. The benefit of naming them is that you don't have to make it an absolute or an absolute cell or a value, where if you need to do certain calculations, it will automatically freeze that cell because it has that name. All right, let's say you're doing a 30-year mortgage. Periodic payments, that's how many payments per year. So we'll say it's monthly payments. And then, so that, just so you know, the model is going to be where I could change this, say quarters, and things do change. Those quarterly payments. So it is going to be a dynamic model in that regard. Okay, so next we want to know, well, what is our total payments we have for this mortgage? Well, it's just going to be the years multiplied times our payments per year. And let you know, I renamed years, and then I renamed periodic payments PP. Next is, well, what's the interest rate? Last time I checked was a 5.98% for a 30-year mortgage. And then we want to know, what is the rate per payment? So we want to know per month in this regard. Okay, so we did the basics there. Let's finish this up. So let's find out, what is our monthly payment? How much are we going to owe to the bank? So now this loan is a positive amount because we're receiving it, and the monthly payment is going to be a negative. But I want to show it as a positive, so I'm going to do a negative to flip the sign, because this is a payment we have to pay. So I just want to show it as a positive. I think it makes more sense when we do it. So we want to do PMT. We want to know the interest per period. So that's periodic rate, comma, total number of payments right here, the 360, the MPER. Our present value, that's the loan amount. That's going to be positive because we're receiving it. It's a cash inflow. And then we got our future value on a loan is going to be 0. We want to close that up. So we're going to owe $23.93 per month. Now let's find out, what is the total interest paid on this loan. So I'm going to go equals, and again, this is going to be a negative because you're going to pay it, but I want to show it as a positive. So I'm going to put a negative, and this is a function that's going to show the life of the loan. We're going to use this throughout this model, and we're going to go, it's called a cumulative interest. So we do CUM, and then you're going to do I for interest, and then you see PMT. And again, we want that negative on there. First thing it's going to ask for is the rate. We always want to do the rate per period. Comma, next is MPER. Type that up. Next is our loan amount, our present value. Next is when does the payment start? We'll say from period 1. And then when does it end? So the assumption we're going to make, we're going to hold the loan till maturity for 30 years. We want to know how much interest we're paying. So that's just going to be MPER again. And then this one, you have to show the model. Is this a 0 or a 1? Which means, does the payment start the next period or today? And typically with loans, it is next period. So we're going to do 0. That's going to be our total interest paid. Next, I want to show is what is the interest, the percent of total interest based on the actual loan. Because if you notice, we're paying $461,000 of interest, and our loan is only $400. So we want to know what is that percentage. This loan, we're paying 115% interest. That's a lot of money. And again, two assumptions I'm making. We're holding to maturity 30 years, and we're paying the minimum payment. And we will do other calculations to figure out, well, what if you pay it off sooner? What happens? Let's go to the amortization. So what we're going to do here, this is going to be a little more complex. In a later video, we're going to make it a lot more complex. So what we're going to do is we're just going to do the basics here. And that'll be the it for this video. That would be it for this video. And then the next videos we'll do, what if you do an extra payment? What if you sell the house early? And then what if you do sensitivity analysis, which means what if we, let's do some comparison. And I got a new ratio that I created in that as well. So let's just do this part. So what we want to do is let's bring in some data points. Let's look at the loan amount, what it is. Let's look at our PMT. That's going to be payment. That's what I called PMT. Let's look at our total. I call it MPER. I should probably not call it by the actual variable name in Excel because it can get a little mixed up. I'm not going to use MPER as a function, but I probably should not use it. Periodic interest. So that's going to be that periodic rate. And then we got our extra payment. We won't do that right now. And then we want to know what about our, well, I guess I could plug that in. What if we have an extra payment? That's going to be our extra payment per month. That's a decision we're going to make every single month or quarter or week. We're going to put that payment on there. And then our periodic payment, we'll get to that in a second. So what I want to do right now is we're just going to do the basics. And to make sure your model looks good, I'm going to change this to a 4-year. And then we're going to do quarter payments. And the reason why I'm doing that, we'll be able to see how that looks on one screen. If I do 30 years times 12, that's 360. I don't feel like scrolling down and want to see it. So a couple things to do our calculations. What I want to do is I want to do cumulative months, which means I need to find out, I want this to be perfectly counted 1 for how many MPER we have. I want 16 ones, and that's what I want to do. So we're going to do a function. It's called, it's a dynamic array. It's called a sequence function. And get used to this one. This one's very powerful if you want to build models. So what we want to do is, again, I want to have 16, because we have 16 payments total, just ones going down. So the first thing is asking us, how many rows do we want? Well, I want the MPER. I want 16. Next, what it's asking is how many columns? Well, I'm just going to do 1 column. I did not mean to do that. Let's go back to it. And then it's asking for when do I want it to start? So back up to the formula tab up here. Well, I want this to start at 1. We're just going to start it at 1. And then it's asking us, well, each step. I want 16 of these. I want this to start at 1. Do I want it to grow at 1 or 2 or 3? I'm going to say 0. So we'll type that in, and then that's going to give us perfect amount. That would be 16 ones going down. That's exactly what I wanted. Next, what we want to do is I want to show each, now I said month here that we're in quarters. I'm going to adjust that for your Excel sheet. That should say quarters, but I want 1 quarter, 2 quarter, 3 quarter, 4. So what we're going to do is we're going to go equals the sequence, and it wants to know how many rows again. I'm going to do MPER. So we're going to do the same exact thing as we did before. Besides, I want to grow it by 1. So that's going to be a step 1. Now that's going to give us our months to actually have it show correctly. Okay, so we got this. This is for advanced calculations later on, but let's get that part out of the way. Next, what we want to do is let's just do the amortization schedule for now. And I think it's going to show correct. I'm going to have to make some adjustments later on to make it a more dynamic model, but let's just do the basics. So I'm just going to do two rows, and we're going to drag that down. So let's do the beginning balance. The beginning balance is going to be the loan amount. So let's plug that right in. Next is, what is our payment? Well, we already calculated that. That's going to be under payments, I called it, or payment. What's nice about that, the payment does not change. So since we named it, it's always going to be that $28,295. This is quarterly for $400,000, only for 4 years. That's why it shows that. Next, we want to know, what is the total amount of interest we're paying per payment? So what we want to do here is I'm going to go, it's going to be the periodic interest. So it's going to be that interest per month or quarter. And what you're going to do is you're going to multiply it times that beginning balance, what you still owe. And then that's going to be the interest you're paying for that first payment. So you're paying $28,000 for that first payment, and almost $6,000 of it is going towards interest. Now we want to know, what is the principal? Well, that's going to be the payment minus the interest. That's going to be the principal amount. And then it wants to know, what is the ending balance? Well, the ending balance, and again, we're going to make this much more complicated in the next videos, but we're just doing the basics. The ending balance is going to be the beginning balance minus the principal, right? Oh yeah, it is correct. I'm looking at it, kind of messed me up that much. So 6,000 going to interest, and the remaining of it is going to principal. That's because it's only a 4-year loan. So you don't get confused. Let's go to 30, and we can see how this works. 12 payments per year. This makes more sense, I think. Payments for this loan is $23.93. We have an interest of $19.93. That is going to be our all interest, right, of that $23.93. So when you have a long loan, the majority is going to be interest. Only $400 going to principal. Our ending balance means that $400 is going off the $400,000. So let's do this one more time. And what we're going to do is we're going to say equals the beginning balance is the ending balance of the previous year. So that's going to be dynamic. When I drag it down, it's always going to be the last ending balance, be the beginning balance for the next period. Payment does not change. The interest does not change. So that's going to be the same. If I drag that, wait, I got to go into there. And that interest up there, which is C9, I need to make that function F4. We need to freeze it because I don't want to drag that down and drag it down to the next interest. Principal is going to be the same. I could drag that down. And then the ending balance equation is going to be the same. We could drag that down as well. So what we have here is pretty cool. I can go, I'm going to hold down Shift Control, drag it all the way down. Well, I don't mean to go all the way down. Here's one thing I'm going to do. I'll show you. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to cell. Let's go to cell 2000. I think that would be plenty of rows. And I'm going to hit space, tab, space, tab, space, tab, space, tab. And what I'm doing here is in Excel that recognizes as a something in that cell, which means if I highlight these, I hold shift control and I go all the way down, it's just going to go to that last 2000 cells that I put a tab in. Now if I hit control D, it's going to drag it all the way down. And let's kind of, I'm going to go all the way back up and show you what's going on here. Oh, we got a lot of cells. I should probably just hit, okay. And if you see right here, it dragged it all the way down to 2000 cells. And if you notice right here, our amortization ended on the 360th payment, and that's correct. And the ending balance becomes zero. As you see, the interest gets lower, the principal gets higher as you go for the amortization of the schedule, and then you see the balance going down, and then the last payment pays the rest off. So we're gonna do, before we end this video, I'm gonna go and do a little bit corrections, and we're gonna make this much more advanced. But what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna do a if function, and my if function is gonna state if that cell, remember that's a dynamic array, if that cell is greater than 0, which means is there a number in that cell, I want comma, I want to do what I did before, and if it's not, I want to put double quote, which is going to make it a blank cell. That's important. So we're going to do that for each one, and I'm going to go back and correct some things. But so we're going to say if there is a number in there, so I'm saying if it's greater than 0. So if there is, remember that automatically perfectly does how many payments we have. So if that is greater than 0, I want to do what we did before. That's a logical assumption. I want that payment, and if it's not, I want it to be blank. So let's do that for each one, and that'll be it. The rest of this video will be done with it. So we'll say if again, if that is greater than the 0, I want to do what we already have that calculation, and if not, we want it blank. Oh, sometimes you forget the comma, and our last one, it would be all set. And there's a couple things I will adjust and change, but up to this point, I want to go step by step and hopefully understand the logic why I am doing certain things. I'm doing that again. What did I do wrong here? Oh yeah, greater than 0. My logical assumption makes sense. So now what we did was we highlighted all those. So I'm sorry, we did the calculations that second row. So I'm going to hold it down, go all the way down to that 2000 row, hit Control D. Look what happens. It's going to make that blank. And even though there's an equation there, not having a number is going to make your Excel sheet work quicker. This is a kind of an in-depth model here. And just to show you, if I go Control down, it's going to go to the last calculated field. And if I hit Control up, it goes right back to the top. So it's really quick that you can go. I'll go to the end, up top. But if we go to the last number, I'm going to scroll down. Look what it does. It ends. We don't have any values. And that's really important if we want to calculate total interest. We want to calculate total principal paid in a certain month. We need it to end because I don't want to show those negatives. But also we want it dynamic. If I do quarters, if I do weeks, it's automatically, we can see how this works. Let's go back to our original. Let's say we did 4. And then we'll say 4 payments per year. And I'm going to go up. And look what it does. It ends right there. It's not perfect though. And you probably asking why it's a 0. Why does it have brackets, which says it's a negative? It's because it's some change. It's not perfect. The model is not perfect. In the later videos, we're going to have to build this dynamic model to make it perfect. We have some techniques to do that with. So that's it for introduction part. Next video, we're going to do, what if we do an extra payment? What if we're going to do $50 per month? What if we do a specific payment in the 7th month? We're going to do all those calculations and we're going to figure it out. And more importantly, what we want to figure out is if I put $1,000 in the life of this loan onto the mortgage, what is my rate of return? How much did I make? How much did I save on it? So that's it for this video. I want to say thank you for watching. That's part 1. I believe more I think about it, we'll have 4 parts. We'll do this one. We'll do extra payment. And then we'll do what if we sell the house early, and then we'll do the sensitivity analysis on it. So that's it. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks. God bless.